really like your family.
Go buy some new clothes. You look like Eminem from 8 Mile.
Well, they're not my family.
You're drug dealers?
No, we're drug smugglers.
Kenny got bit by a giant spider.
Will you let me know if he develops any superpowers?
I can't feel my bingo.
He might be dead. If he's dead, we're leaving him.
I've never touched another woman before.
I would be okay with that.
It's a lot of heat coming from these. Thank you.
We're the Millers. Rated R, August 7.
Hello, I'm the Universal Critic. I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. The media just loves to push the idea of the perfect white middle-class suburban family, don't they? It's a particularly inescapable image on television. Today I'm looking at We're the Millers, a movie that attempts to poke fun at that idea, and while the satire is a bit weak, it's still a very enjoyable film. We're the Millers tells the story of a small-time drug dealer, played by Jason Sudeikis, who is hired by the whitest drug lord you will ever see, played by Ed Helms, to move a shipment of pot from Mexico into the United States. Seeking to avoid suspicion at the border, Sudeikis hires a stripper, played by Jennifer Aniston, a young neighbor of his, played by Will Poulter, and a runaway, played by Emma Roberts, to pose as a fake family, that being the titular Millers. Of course, things soon go awry when it is revealed that they unknowingly stole from a Mexican drug lord. Hijinks ensue. First of all, I must admit that this is a pretty flawed film. The cast is talented, don't get me wrong, especially Sudeikis and Aniston, but the characters are pretty one-note and don't have much in the way of personality. Also, as I stated earlier, the attempts to satire the perfect American family fall pretty flat because most of the time, the movie spends most of its time on vulgar and obvious humor rather than poking fun at the ideas of family. Having said all that, I still thought the movie was pretty funny. I'm the kind of person who enjoys vulgar humor, for the most part, especially with very funny actors like Sudeikis and Aniston. I will admit, though, there are several scenes in this movie that feel as though they were written exclusively for a joke rather than to further the story or develop the characters. But the jokes are still pretty funny, and so I'll let it go. In addition, while the characters are pretty stereotypical, the scenes with them bonding as a quote-unquote family seem somewhat genuine, although after one scene towards the middle of the movie, you will start to realize just how creepy this premise is, but I won't spoil it for you here, and it was still pretty funny. Overall, I give We're the Millers a low big screen rating. Had it been shorter and smarter with its humor and satire, I would have given it a high big screen, but it was still raunchy and over the top enough to get a good number of laughs out of me and thus warrant a matinee. Also, make sure to stay for the blooper reel in the credits, it's pretty funny. I'm the Universal Critic, I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. Goodbye.